Great. Well, I will get started. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon for this webinar on Lewa Wilderness. Unfortunately, Miranda, who was going to join us is unable to do so now. For those of you who don't know Miranda, she is our point of contact for sales and marketing, but she is also horse safari manager at the lodge, and she got pulled away this afternoon for lodge duties. But I am really excited to be giving this presentation this afternoon as I just returned from an incredible Kenya farm trip last week where we spent 2 nights at Lewa Wilderness. So really excited to talk about our experience there. Just some housekeeping before we get into the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and I will upload it to our YouTube channel before the end of the week. And we will also send out any information that you may need to sell Lewa Wilderness in a newsletter. We will also have some time at the end for questions. So if anything comes to mind throughout the presentation, please do pop it into the Q&A or chat box and I will get to it at the end. So to get started, Lewa Wilderness, we are located in Laikipia. So Laikipia is on the map, it is central Kenya, but as part of the safari circuit, it is considered northern Kenya. And to me, Laikipia is such a beautiful place to tie into any Kenya safari. It is made up of different conservancies. So the safari experience here is a lot more immersive. It's all about getting out of the vehicle. And it's a really beautiful contrast to the Mara, where the Mara is very open and flat, vast plains. Laikipia is much more rugged, very different terrain. You have the backdrop of Mount Kenya. So the landscape here is absolutely stunning. And the Lewa Wildlife Conservancy itself is 64,000 acres, and there are only 5 lodges on the conservancy. So the safari experience here is very exclusive, very private. As I said, it's all about getting out of the vehicle and doing horse safaris, walking safaris, camel safaris, and I'll touch a bit more on the activities as we go. A really nice place, I think, to twin after the Mara. Of course, it comes down to, client preferences, but our guests here, we often have either going further north into Samburu or else continuing on to the beach. We will also send out some sample itineraries as well for you to share. And to me, Lewa Wilderness is for absolutely everyone. It's great for families and multi-gen groups, but also a really beautiful place for couples or honeymooners and also solo travelers. We have a communal dining experience, so really nice for people who are traveling by themselves. So this is the original lodge, and Lewa Wilderness has an amazing heritage. It was one of the first lodges in Kenya to start hosting guests, and it is still the Craig family home. We have a beautiful promotional video as well, which I will share in the follow-up, which illustrates their story. But this is the original family home. And your clients will often see the family when they're at the lodge. So there is this real beautiful family atmosphere when you're at the lodge. This is the veranda where guests will meet before their afternoon activities for teas and coffees. And then when you go down the steps, then you have this beautiful lounge and bar area. So a really nice place for guests to gather before dinner. This is our dining area. So as I said, dining is communal, but of course, for guests who want a private dining experience, that we can absolutely set that up also. This here then is the bar area, which is extended out onto the deck. So a really beautiful sundowner spot. And I remember when I first arrived to Lewa, we came down here for sundowners and we could see a black rhino ascending on the hill. So a really special place. And there's loads of space across the lodge as well for guests to just kind of relax, chill out, especially after being on safari. In terms of accommodation, the lodge is split into garden cottages and hillside cottages. So this is just a lodge layout. So the garden cottages, they are closest to the main area, set around the gardens. And then we have the hillside cottages then, which are dotted along the hillside, and they have the most amazing views of the valley. And each have a different configuration. So the res team are really good at, helping you with what best suits your clients. We do also have a floor plan of each of the cottages, so I will send that out in the follow-up also. It just illustrates what is exactly in each cottage. But these are a lovely one for couples or honeymooners, and as well, I think for older families. Some of the cottages do have a bit of a drop from their veranda, so I wouldn't recommend for younger children. But then we have our garden cottages then, which are a really lovely option for bigger families or multi-gen groups. So you have two ensuite bedrooms, again, each with a different configuration, and then a really spacious lounge area and dining area in between. And these cottages are absolutely massive. They're so great for bigger groups. And as I said, these are closer to the main area as well. And so a really lovely option here. And then moving on to just other amenities on the lodge. As well as all the activities that you have in the Conservancy, we also have a communal pool, tennis courts, and a exercise area with some basic gym equipment. So again, lots to do when you're staying at the lodge. And then new to Lewa Wilderness is their exclusive use lodge, private wilderness. So this is just a 10-minute drive from the existing lodge, and it only opened June last year, and it was a real kind of passion project of the Craigs. We often get a lot of multi-generational groups coming through the lodge, so the team decided to create a exclusive use option, and it is absolutely stunning. So it accommodates a maximum of 10 people. You have 5 individual cottages just dotted along the valley here, and then a main area which is absolutely stunning. You have the most serene views of the Conservancy here. Beautiful dining area and pool area. And you also, for guest staying here, you have exclusive use of 2 vehicles, and you can be privately hosted as well. So these are the cottages. So double or twin configuration and accommodating a maximum of 10 packs. We do also have a guide room here also. Minimum age is 6 and a minimum stay of 3 nights. But I wouldn't, for this area, I wouldn't recommend anything less than 3 nights anyways, as there's just so much to do in terms of activities on the Conservancy. So just to summarise, it's exclusive use only. We'll take a minimum of 6 guests and a maximum of 10, and you have your 2 private vehicles as well. But I will send all this information out in a follow-up too. So in terms of the wildlife and the Conservancy itself, Lewa is a Big 5 conservancy and is renowned for its rhino conservation. So across the Lewa and Barana landscapes, we have 255 black and white rhino. And I mean, from the second we landed at the Lewa Downs airstrip, we were 5 minutes on our way to the lodge and we came across 5 white rhino. So yeah, a really amazing wildlife sightings here. As I said, we have game drives, morning, afternoon and night drives. And as well, a lot more activities beyond game drives. All of our guides are trained walking guides, so we can explore the Conservancy on foot right from the lodge, camel safaris. We also have stables at the lodge. These are just a 2-minute walk away from the lodge, and we take all levels of experience. So for keen riders, we can do a full day excursion. We also take beginners as well. This is just a recent clip from our visit. And we also try to always incorporate a surprise bush breakfast for guests. So when we did it, we went out in the morning on horseback, came across our bush breakfast, and then we also got the camels back to the lodge then. So just a really unique way of exploring the conservancy. We also have our shamba and workshop area. So I always encourage guests and agents to go down and see the shamba because it's a really amazing part of Lewa Wilderness. Um, Lewa Wilderness try to be as self-sufficient as possible, and it supplies a lot of fruit and veg and products for the lodge. You can also see their carpentry workshop, where you will see a lot of the furniture that has been made for Lewa Wilderness and private wilderness. They do amazing farm to fork lunches here as well, which is an additional $55 per person, but a really lovely, lovely experience. This is the Shamba and the farm. And it's so amazing to see, particularly in the dry season when the whole conservancy is very dry and arid. The Shamba remains very lush and green as it is irrigated by spring. We also have our new Shamba kitchen. So this is where we do the farm to fork lunches. And this is just such a lovely experience. So it's really nice for guests to go down, explore the Shamba, explore the woodwork workshop, and then have this surprise farm to fork lunch. And the food is absolutely beautiful, very light, very delicate, um, and definitely one not to miss. We also have our fly camp. So this is an additional $190 per person, but a really lovely way for guests who want a more kind of off the beaten track experience. They can do one night in the bush under the stars. And for experienced riders, you can also incorporate that as part of a full day ride. And then you will return to the lodge the next morning. As I said, there has been amazing conservation work at Lewa, so we always encourage guests to go down and visit the Conservancy headquarters. And so you can have a meet and greet here, and you get a full tour of the Conservancy headquarters, and you get to see all the amazing work they're doing. You can also book a behind the scenes activity. So when we were here, we got to do a demonstration with the tracker dogs. This is a really fun experience. We went down with a family who had two children, and they went off and hid in the bush with one of the rangers. And then we essentially got the dog to track them. So a really fun one and really educational as well. It's definitely worth trying to incorporate that into one of the activities. We can also do visit to the local school and orphanage. Again, a really great way for guests to see the work that is being done around the Conservancy and local communities. We are quite sensitive about when we do it, so it won't be during class time hours. And yeah, again, a really eye-opening and lovely experience for guests to do. We also have some additional activities around the Conservancy. So we can do a cultural visit to Ilingwesi. And also in the Conservancy, you have Ngari Dairy Forest. This is a really cool experience. You set off in the morning with your guide, and you meet one of your rangers at the forest, and they will track or hike with you through the forest. And this is really lovely to do as well in the high season because you have these beautiful pools where you can jump off. This is when I did it, and it was absolutely freezing, but such a fun experience to do. And yeah, again, really nice contrast to, game drives. And it's just, as I said, all about getting out of the vehicle. We also then, from that experience, you can do the tree canopy walk. It's one of the longest walks in East Africa. And it's, as the name suggests, you are right on the tree line. And when we got to the end of the walk, we had a group or a herd of elephants below us. So a really cool way to explore the Ngari Dairy Forest area. And then we also have Air Wilderness. So Air Wilderness is a private charter company based out of Lewa Wilderness. And we offer scenic flights around Kenya. So one of our most popular ones would be the Roteti Elephant Orphanage. So we offer private charters, scenic flights, and then we also offer a shared charter in partnership with Scenic Wilderness. And this is actually how we travelled from the Mara to Lewa Wilderness. So the shared charter serves the Lewa to the Mara leg, and it's a really great way of connecting the Mara to Lewa without having to go through Nairobi. And these are also some of the scenic flights we offer. So as I said, Roteti Elephant Orphanage, we offer low-level sundowners, Jade Sea Fishing Safari. So a lot that you can do with Air Wilderness also. I do have all the different flights in a fact sheet, so I will send that out also with the price list attached. And then finally, we also have Walking Wild. So Walking Wild is a mobile walking safari across Lewa and Ilangwesi. So this is 2 or 3 nights in the bush, and it's a really amazing experience for those who want a more off the beaten track adventure. You travel with your Maasai and camels, and you essentially start off in Ilangwesi and walk your way back into Lewa, either to the airstrip or to do a night or two at the lodge. It's quite technical walking as the Lewa terrain is quite rugged, so you do need to be or do need to have, sorry, a certain level of fitness to do this. We take a minimum of 2 packs and a maximum of 6. And yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely amazing experience for guests who want that walking safari. You have your walk in the morning, you walk to your camp, and then you have an evening walk. And this is just an example of how close you get to some of the wildlife. And it is such a beautiful way to explore the Conservancy. The Lewa Conservancy is absolutely stunning. And this is what your tent setup is like. So we describe it as everything you need and nothing more. You have your bucket shower, toilet, and then your tent. So as I said, you will be traveling with your Maasai who take all the equipment on camels, and they will prepare meals and everything that you will need while out in the bush.